I love shrimp. Hello, everybody. Episode number 44, Keeping It Shrimple. Oh, wow. We got some good stuff today. I'm excited. I got Kyle. Uh, I'm not even going to try to say his last name. His wife's in there in the stream. You can pronounce it for yourselves, or I'll ask him when he comes on. But I met him at Aquashella, Dallas, a couple of weeks ago, and we had a little bit of time together, and I realized that he was a contestant in the shrimp contest as well. So I figured he'd be the perfect person to get up here and talk shrimps and kind of get into his head and pick his brain and just get to know him a little bit better. He's from Poseidon's Pets is a channel name, and it's Kyle. Welcome, Kyle. Yeah.
Hello,
Crowd goes
everyone.
wild.
You gotta do the intro. Hey everyone, it's Kyle here from Poseidon's Pets.
Cool, man. How you doing?
Good. How about yourself?
Awesome. Well, let's see how many people we got in here. A few people that I want to say hello to. I mean, you probably know them as well. Frank Basanta from New York City. Jamie A.
Hey, Jamie.
Let's see. Frank's a regular. Of course, your wife, Amber.
Uh-huh.
Hello, Amber.
Hi, baby.
Joseph Stanley, Patrick Hardy. I love shrimp.
Yes, I love shrimp as well. And of course,
an amazing
Tim
birthday dinner for the wife, so I'll be mostly lurking. Okay, cool deal, Joseph. Thanks for lurking. Chris Aquazone. Dennis Christensen. Hello. Ka in Texas. Crypt Keeper. Daniel Velez. And I think I got to the bottom of the list. People are still creeping in. Nicole Jones. Hello. So, hey, look, there's Grant.
I know that guy.
You know that guy.
I know that guy.
Yeah, he loves shrimp too.
I think so. Just a little bit. He may have a
Just
shrimp
a little bit.
like the rest of us.
Speaking of MTS,
Yes.
But it's not a syndrome if you have a legitimate business need for all of those aquariums, right?
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Yeah. There
I
you
definitely
go.
Didn't get the business license for tax write-offs and all that good stuff. Never would I do that.
Never.
Do
you need a receipt? Yes, I do.
Yes, I do. You can email it to Poseidon's Receipts. There you go. There's a file of them. It's a big file.
Man, I really enjoy watching your videos. You have a fun way of putting everything together. And by meeting you in Dallas, I realized that you're just being you, and that's kind of cool. So, tell me a little bit about yourself, your channel. When did you get into the hobby?
So I have been in the hobby for most of my life. It started out that I would go to like the canals, I would go to the lakes, and I would catch like crawfish and tadpoles, and started bringing them back home and raising them and doing that. And then that got me into like keeping frogs in tanks and toads. And from there, I started breeding mollies. So I was like, you know what? I want to breed some fish. So I found out mollies were like the easiest thing to breed. So I'm like, all right, I'll try that. Did that for a while.
Same here.
And then I found out, hey, I've got a lot of mollies. What do you do with extra mollies? And then I got an Oscar.
and no more mollies.
Yep. And I found out that that's what mollies are good for. And from there started breeding convicts. And about high school, I got rid of so here's the story. It's terrible as it is. I had an Oscar in a 55-gallon, and I had a 14-inch common pleco. This thing was massive. And if you know anything about common plecos, as they get older, they don't really care for algae anymore. They really need like a lot of protein and meat. And so I ran out of algae pellets, and my pleco decided to eat my Oscar. So believe it or not, the 14-inch pleco ate all the scales off the side of the Oscar, just destroyed it. Fungus set in, lost my Oscar, ended up I think it was like 6 months later, the pleco died, and I got rid of the whole tank. I was like, you know what, I'm done. And after
That was
that,
it.
so met Amber, and a wedding present to ourselves with some of our money was a 60-gallon fish tank. So that kind of reinvigorated the fish keeping for me, and it kind of went downhill from there.
And like, how long period of this was this? Since you were a kid?
Yeah, so probably from about 10, you know 9 or 10 until junior high school. I was really into it, like the science behind it, loved keeping fish, and
Right.
then fell out of it for a while. And then me and Amber and I got married in I was 23, so this was 8 years ago, where we got together about 8 years ago, and got married 5 years ago, and got the 60-gallon, and then had a friend give me a 75-gallon with a sump. And my first video was aquaponics in an aquarium, pothos. So like pothos in the bottom of the sump. Still have that set up today. And that was kind
Wow.
of what started YouTube for me, and just went down the rabbit hole of YouTube.
And so, what's okay? Okay, like when you got into shrimp, how did that evolve in your aquarium keeping, or did it
So
change? Obviously, you have a lot of aquariums there behind you, looking pretty cool.
just a
Looking
few,
pretty cool.
just a few of them. So what happened was
Tell
uh
me how it happened to you, because I'm
yes.
interested.
So we started out with that 60-gallon as like a community tank. And like anybody else, I was like, oh, I need something to clean up algae. So I went out and got ghost shrimp, and watching the ghost shrimp get buried up and watching them clean, I would spend hours staring at these ghost shrimp, just watching them do their thing. Ended up
Right.
watching them more than the fish itself. And I was like, okay, these guys are really cool. I'd really like to breed some of these, and kind of got away from it a little bit. I got the Oscar and got rid of the community fish, put the Oscar in there, and then got upgraded to that 75-gallon. So once the 60-gallon was free again, I'm like, okay, I want to breed shrimp. How do I breed shrimp? And if you type in how to breed shrimp on YouTube, what comes up? What's one of the first things that come up? Breeding cherry shrimp from Flip Aquatics. So I can really look at Rob and Mark over at Mark Shrimp Tanks, and both of them, it's really what sparked my interest into shrimp, and becoming a shrimp YouTuber instead of the fish, because I did videos on plants, I did videos on Oscars, I did videos on Corys and Mollies, and I really created a lot of content that was for just the hobby in general. And then I found shrimp, fell down that rabbit hole of breeding shrimp and keeping shrimp, and neocaradinas led to caradinas, and then we bought a
What
house, and now I have a shrimp.
about when was that when you started falling down the rabbit hole with the shrimp?
I've been breeding shrimp for about 2 years now.
Okay.
So I did neocaridina for about a year, and then I've been keeping caridina for about a year now too.
Okay. Because it
Yeah.
was like early 2018, 2017 when I got my first shrimp
Okay.
in my community tank. And I had one tank, it was a 40-gallon bow front. And then I wasn't really into the fish. I was more into the plants and the aquascaping.
Yeah.
I had given up trying to find the fish that I wanted. I just couldn't find the quality fish. Everything died. So my focus was plants. And then I got this one blue shrimp.
The
Well,
proverbial blue shrimp that started it all.
yes. And then next thing you know, I decided I wanted one of those the flex aquariums that Fluval had.
Yeah.
And I wanted to do a really cool aquascape, and I liked the way it was set up. So I got one of those. I scaped it out, planted it crazy, put guppies in there, and then decided I wanted to get more shrimp. And then they got buried. And then lo and behold,
Now
uh,
you're a shrimp keeper.
yeah, I had my first heart attack. And my son was telling me, Dad, you need to start a YouTube channel on the way you do your aquariums, the way you set them up. It's really cool. And I was like, yeah, whatever, YouTube, schmutube. And then I started watching, aquascaping videos. And then next thing you know, I started doing some research on shrimp. And then next thing you know, I started ordering shrimp online. And the next thing you know,
Yep.
here we go.
That's how it
Multi-tank
all
syndrome.
starts. That's how it all starts. My buddy Ryan used to tell me, he's like, "You're not a fish keeper. You're a plant keeper." Because like you, I got bored with the fish. I just wanted the plants. Like
Right.
I just wanted to plant a tank with everything, and I think I had like five mollies in my 60-gallon, and like 4 cories and 3 coolie loaches, and that was about it. And then a bunch of shrimp. And it's like, no, I don't need a bunch of fish. Like I would sit here and watch everybody go out and, spend $50, $100 on fish and overstock their tanks. And I'm sitting there thinking, I'm like, you're just gonna have to do more water changes. You're just gonna have to, you're gonna get algae because of all the nitrates. And I'm like, if I just toss a couple fish in there, it'll feed the plants and I don't have to worry about anything. I could do less water changes. The plants look good. And I didn't really care for the fish. Like I cared about them. I just didn't care to have more. I was like,
So,
okay, they're cool, but
do you think that by becoming a shrimp keeper, that you become better at maintaining aquarium, so that way your fish keeping hobby could be expanded more if you wanted to?
yes and no, because I spend so much time on the shrimp tanks, most of my fish tanks get neglected.
You're not supposed to admit that stuff.
Right? I know.
We're live.
I'm a pretty honest person, so I'll tell you how it is. And not to the point of like things are keeling over and dying, but my 60 gallons got some string algae in it, and they're always planted heavily, so I'm never gonna have an issue to where it's the water quality is terrible.
Right.
Yeah, like I could do more water changes, but that's all of us. We could all do more water changes.
Yes. And I used to think that you could get away with not doing it as much, and you can, depending on how well you have it planted and everything, you
Certain
can get
extent.
away with it.
Yeah.
But everything seems to do much better when you give it fresh water.
Yeah.
Whether it's the livestock, the plants, it looks happier. Everything looks happier,
Definitely.
and they breed better. To me, it seems like everything breeds better.
Well, let me ask you. I've been asking a lot of people recently, and the big debate with Caradina tanks is, I hear some people say 5% twice a month, 30% every week, and I've gone both sides of the spectrum, and I've seen benefits to both. I've seen negatives to both. What's your take on water changes? Like percentage weekly, bi-weekly? Do you do them? Do you not do them?
That's a trick question, Kyle. It's a trick question.
Full honesty here.
Yeah, and that's why I say it's a trick question, because I really go by feel. I have a good sense of being in tune with my tanks and knowing just by seeing what's going on, that I can tell whether it needs to be a top off only tank or if it needs to be a water change tank, if that makes any sense.
It does.
And so I'm trying to get more regimented, because I think maybe if I was more systematic in my approach, maybe then I wouldn't see fluctuations as much. I'm thinking. So I'd probably go with a 10% water change weekly to start. and then see how that does. If I want to increase it a little bit, see if that does better, or see if that makes things more out of balance. Because to me, I'm trying to make sure the tank stays as balanced and as stable as possible without me jacking with it. That's my whole keeping it shrimple philosophy, is I don't want to have to jack with it a bunch.
Yeah.
That's why I love shrimp, because sometimes it seems to me that when you can get your tanks going and cycled and seasoned, it's like it's automatic almost.
Yeah.
Unless you add something or change something to, mess it up, it's a pretty good little shrimp factory you can get going.
Definitely. And I think that's where my problem is. A lot of times I'll do too much. And because I was doing 30% weekly for a while.
Wow.
And when I moved to this house after getting my RO unit and stuff, with the move and doing the water changes, I lost so many shrimp. And so finally I'm like, I'm just not going to do anything. I'm just going to step back and be like die or don't die. Like whatever I'm doing is not working. So I'll let you guys figure it out. And that was when I realized that maybe I'm doing too many water changes. Cause after I stopped, things started to balance out and go good.
I think that's one of the things too, is that with shrimp tanks, a lot of us, especially in tanks that we're going to be working with a lot and pulling shrimp out, culling, and trying
Yeah.
to find the best of the best and all of that, that we tend to minimize whatever the way that we set those tanks up.
Yeah.
So the cycle is 100% dependent on your sponge filters and your substrate, and then
Yeah.
whatever little bit of moss or whatever little bit of floaters you got to kind of help keep the tank stable. Whereas a fully planted tank that is not being used like that, like a hobbyist, normal
It can
people that
handle
don't
the
have
water changes.
300 tanks.
You
But
have a bunch of water bottles set up for drip acclimating and
exactly, you do
yeah.
that too. Oh my god.
Yeah, I do gallon jugs that I drip the water back in.
Yeah,
So I usually do like 7 tanks at a time, and that's about it.
it's a nice little hack.
Yeah, it's nice to
One
have
of
the
one of the things I
extra
just
racks for storage.
one of the things I discovered lately is you can go buy one of those boxes of water, of the UV sterilized water at Petco,
Okay,
and then reuse that bag in a box form instead of a bottle.
okay, that's a good
And it
idea.
works. You can refill it and then do it the same way.
Well, that's like these guys.
Yeah.
I like these cubes. Those are for bigger tanks. This is what I would do. So I would it's got a 3 gallon mark on it, and so I would just do 3 gallons at a time.
Want to change 20% monthly, top off 2 times per month. Hey, look,
Yeah.
there's Ruben. Shrimp pimping. I do 15% a month and top off is needed, and my shrimp are doing a lot better. See,
15% a month.
because that's the thing
Yeah.
is like I said, when you have such little, you know, aquatic life like the plants, a well planted tank is going to stay stable a lot easier. So the more you're changing the water and pulling water out, adding more water in, you're making the substrate and everything that's there work harder.
Yeah. That's something I
So
realized after a little bit.
I think that kind of messes with the balance, especially in shrimp tanks that are usually kept really clean, you know, just a
For the
little
most part.
ball of moss here, there.
Well, it's like, oh, lost my power source. Don't look at my bald head.
Oh,
But
beautiful, man.
like
I
that's
love it.
it. All you got is a little bit of moss in there, and like you
Yep.
said, we don't have all of those plants to fluctuate with the water and be okay. So I've been doing 10% every 10 days, and that seems to be the sweet spot. Now, if I add new shrimp to a tank, or I'm moving shrimp around, like if I just did a water change on a tank, I'm not going to
Right.
go ahead and take those shrimp and add them to a new tank. Now I got to wait until they've seasoned up to that new water, because you don't want to be moving them around and stressing them out that way. So I try to plan accordingly. Like right now, I just added new shrimp to the cold tank. So I'm not going to do a water change this time. So they'll go 20 days without a water change just because they need to get used to that water.
Now, do you ever intentionally do a bigger than normal water change because your breeding has stalled in your tank?
It depends. Because usually, if you're breeding
Or what do you
stalls,
do when breeding stalls in a tank?
I haven't figured that out yet.
Okay.
So I've been
The
I've been
reason I
having this
ask that is
struggle.
because for me, one of the
Yeah,
things I've noticed is that like when you're doing culling of your shrimp and pulling shrimp out and moving them from one tank to another and separating the really pretty ones from the not so pretty ones, and you put them in new tanks, it's like all of a sudden they go crazy and they breed.
yeah.
So that lends to the theory that sometimes a bigger water change than normal, if your tank is stalled out, would have the same effect as putting them in new water. Does that make
So
sense?
yeah, I think that's where I started doing the 30% every week because I was noticing that, I wasn't seeing the success I was having. And so I was like, okay, I need to do bigger water changes. But I think I got overzealous with it. Instead of doing it every week, like, hey, just do that one big water change and then go back to your, do a 50% water change and drip it in over a 6 hour period, whatever you got to
Right.
do. Or, yeah,
I
or
normally
even,
do drip ins when
mm,
anytime I'm doing it, whether I'm just topping off or whether I'm doing a water change, I drip it in. It just, to me, it makes more sense. And I
yeah,
have the patience. Most of the time, I have the patience for it.
yeah.
I was watching your video where you did the simple or the easy Carradina tank setup, and you're like, doop, 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 I don't have the patience. And you take the top off.
Yeah. Well, it was a new tank. Like a new tank, you just full send it. It's fine. The dust will clear. The dust will settle. It'll be all right.
That's
That
funny.
that video I had a lot of fun with. So Chris Weber, Palmer Aquatics, he he was talking with me and he's like, your personality on streams and chat, basically real life, is it doesn't come through in your videos. You joke around a lot. You're sarcastic. You have fun. In your videos, you're like a science teacher. I'm like, I know. I don't know why. It's just that's how I get on camera and I start talking about. I go down that sciencey side of things and I get monotone. And he's like, you need to have more fun with it. Show your personality. And so I think that was one of the videos where I was like, all right, Chris, you wanna see who I really am? Like, here you go. And then it just takes too much energy. Like,
Jason used to tell me that all the time
yeah.
when we first met. He was always like, man, he was like, you need to be more like this in your videos than what you are. And I was like, I don't do it on purpose. I just
That's
do my videos and I'm all like, hey, these are my fish and my shrimp and this is
yeah.
my tank.
Right. It's not like that's why I think like having two people in a video is good because then your personalities really come out. Like my Aquashella video, with Ryan, he's in here, Z's World. Having the dynamic of having somebody else to talk with on camera is better than just monotonely staring at the camera. And so it's nice when you can interview somebody or you can have somebody else on the camera with you, because then it comes out more natural. And so that's what I try to do. I try to look at the camera and act like it's somebody else.
Right,
Like
right, right.
that little thing right there, that's somebody else right there. And sometimes it helps, sometimes it doesn't.
No, I've learned those little things. I watch a lot of people. I've been, around enough with the YouTubers and even, YouTubers we don't see anymore that, taught me some things way back in the day. And it's just one of those things that I guess it took me a little while to get over the edge of being nervous. I still tend to do it though in my videos because I'm trying to be clear and concise. And trust me, I do a lot of editing because there's so much in the between where I'm like, oh, I said it all wrong. Okay, take two. Okay, here I'm going to go. And then I say something and every other word is um so I got to edit out all of those and then it
Get you,
sounds like
copy.
I'm it like it.
I'm with you.
So I'm learning how to just forget it, just talk, just be me, just do the videos without overthinking it. It's too much work to overthink it.
There's times where I've done the same scene over and over, and like I'll be sitting here getting frustrated with myself. I'm like, what is wrong with you? Like, what? Why are you being self conscious about this? Like, you're doing this, like you're literally staring at your phone. There's nobody else here. Nobody else can see what's happening. Like, why? Why is this? Why are you having a problem? Like, you know this stuff. You know what you want to say. It's sometimes you get tongue tied and it doesn't want to come out.
Oh yeah. And I'm trying to get Jason to do more with, like, I tell him, I was like, we're losing all of this opportunity when we're here together in the same building and we don't even do any video. There's no
Yeah.
nothing, no member stuff for your members. We're losing opportunity. He was like, I know. So hopefully he's watching and he takes the hint, Jason. Get back on YouTube.
Yeah, it was good to see you guys there for sure. Because I've watched quite a few of his videos and stuff too, and it was
He's
good to
always
see
been a
everyone.
blast. Like I said, I was chatting with him before Aquashella Chicago about his printing business, and then I found out he did because I found out he did printing business through YouTube. I think I
Yeah,
saw Flip Aquatics do a tour at his house, and so I was like, okay, cool. Got in touch with him, and then we met in Chicago and we ended up having lunch at the airport and flew back together
nice.
from Aquashella. And then a couple of weeks later, we went down to Austin together and did a bunch of fish tours and fish stores, fish rooms, and we went to an auction. And we
Nice.
had a blast. And it was kind of one of those things. We've been friends ever since. He's been there through and through. Uh, and so now that we're working together, uh, it's kind of cool that we're still, it was something through YouTube. Who would have thunk it ever that you meet somebody on YouTube and you become friends? The next thing you know, you're running an online fish store together.
Right. Well, it's like Grant. I talk to him all the time, and so when I met up with him at Aquashella, we hung out and had a good time, and like I'm running around getting videos with people and taking pictures and stuff, and I never even took a picture with him because I feel like we're good friends. So it never even crossed my mind like, hey, I need to get a picture with Grant. Like it like
Right.
didn't even cross my mind. And then afterwards, I was like, I was going through the pictures and stuff. I'm like, I never even stopped, never even took a video, never even took a picture with him. And
Yeah, it's like I sat there for, I don't know, probably a good 30, 45 minutes chatting it up with Rob. We were just talking about
yeah,
things I hadn't, other than Aquashellas, and I hadn't seen him since I was up there in Ohio working with him. And we're talking, and life has changed for both of us ever since then. I went through my surgery. He had a kid, and so we were just talking, and we were sharing pictures. And I looked at him at one point, and I said, a couple of years ago, Rob, we would have been showing each other pictures of our aquariums and our shrimp. I said, now we're showing each other pictures of our kids and grandkids.
yeah,
That's funny.
that's awesome. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
definitely a good community, and I'm glad to be a part of it. I've met some good people, and had some good conversations, and everybody just wants to have fun and wants everyone to succeed.
Oh, yeah, man. That's why, my whole thing is that's why it's all about I love shrimp. And I want the shrimp hobby, you know, it should be bigger and better. And everybody's starting to get into it. More people are getting into it. The I mean, the breeders out there, such as yourself, they're are becoming many.
Yeah.
And, we're all learning so much more about shrimp keeping and breeding and, the just healthy shrimp.
Yeah.
You know, it's going to be a long time before we're even close to what they do on the other side of the pond. But I look
We'll
forward to
get there. We'll get
being a
there.
big part of let's learn and let's get it going and let's do as much as we can and breed, and maybe we'll come up with some really unique USA strains.
Right. I think it'll be a while before we get there, but I think we
You
got
never
this.
know. Everything's impossible until it isn't.
Right. I know I ended up breaking down my Black King Kong and Orange Eye Blue Tiger crossbreeding tank. And I've got a one female Black King Kong still in there buried, and then two female Orange Eye Blue Tigers in there still buried. And I was thinking to myself, I'm like, I should leave the tigers in there and add one of my tangerine tiger or a blue crosses. And like, let's add a male to that and let's see what the offspring looks like when you cross a Tang Tai or a blue with a orange eye blue tiger. Maybe we'll get some actual green auras
All right.
instead of the weird gray colored shrimp I ended up creating.
Hey, you never know. Cool deal.
Yeah,
We
so
got plenty,
Jarhead,
and I'm getting more. I got to talk to Grant because I want to get some shrimp from Grant and get
there you go.
some of my tanks stocked up with some of the Grant shrimp. I kind of that's one of the great things that I love about. I don't know. At least for me, I want a little bit of everybody's shrimp. I don't want just one shrimp. As much as I used to be a 100% Flip Aquatics loyalist, I got all my shrimp from Flip and Flip only, you
Yeah,
know, and I I did that until I worked there and came back, and then I bought more shrimp from Rob, and then I started working with Jason, and really just worked on the shrimp that I had. That was my main thing with the shrimp that I had, and I'd buy some shrimp here and there. I got some from Grant, I got some from Motor City, got some from Eric, got some from the shrimp farm. I don't know. I try to spread the love,
there you go. Yeah,
and then work on my colonies. And it's hard to do that. It's hard, hard, hard to work on colonies when you set up and then tear down, and then set up and then tear down,
yeah.
and then set up. It's like, oh. So I'm getting
Well,
there. One of
hopefully
these
things
times.
will be more permanent for you here soon. You
Oh
just
yeah,
need to
definitely.
you need to
That's
find a
the goal.
warehouse, set a warehouse up
Yeah.
somewhere. Like you just, no matter where you're at, you'll have your shrimp there, and then
Well, I was looking at Jason the other day because we're all talking about buying more tanks and setting up
yeah,
more shrimp racks and everything. And I was looking at him while I was boxing, and I was like, when we expand, man, we're gonna have to keep all of these things in mind of what we did wrong here and what we want to
yeah,
do for the future. Because
definitely.
I see it. It's got to happen. You got to grow. Hopefully.
Yes, I know. I've been looking at the shrimp room, and I'm like, okay, I could do this better. Like the 30 gallon and the 20 gallon, like they can be flipped
Oh,
on their
dude,
side to save some space.
I keep on sneaking over to the side and seeing people that I haven't said hello to here.
I feel like we're ignoring
People,
chat.
you brought a bunch of people, man. Look at
I
you.
can't
You're all
see
famous and stuff.
how many people are in here. It doesn't tell me.
47.
Dang, that's more people than join in my own streams.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
We're not even giving anything away. I mean, yeah. You're like, wait, you're not giving free stuff. All right, I'm out of here. Yeah, shout out to all of my members who are still loyal to me, even though I haven't been live streaming. I miss you guys. I just got to figure out a time that works best with the new house and when everybody could get in. I know
Well, I
Jamie wants me to
definitely,
do afternoon streams, but I got to
I'm
figure it out.
definitely jelly of that behind you, man. That looks really good. I like the way it looks. It looks
Yeah,
so
these
good
come
on
off
camera
too.
too.
Like this whole thing comes off.
Oh wow! You got little
Oh,
hooks on it.
magnets.
Oh, okay.
See if it
There you
stays
go.
now. I know
Sweet.
I got to show off the shrimp room when I can.
I'm scared to start shrimp. I know myself. I'll have 10 billion.
It's like Pokemon. You got to catch them all.
Yeah, you got to catch them all, man. And okay, so I'm going through the shrimp contest tanks and I'm filming what I can. And then I get to the tank that had the orange eye red tigers. And I've
Yeah,
seen orange eye red tigers before, man, but I don't know. They were just so pretty. And I was just like, ooh.
they were.
So for my birthday the following week, I called Eric up and I was like, hey, man, I see on your website you got orange eye red tigers. And he was like, yeah, man. And I was like, I want some. So I got them in the tank over here.
That's cool.
I got me 10 of them to play with.
That's really cool. Yeah, you got to see if I could send you this video real quick, and if you can share it.
Yeah.
You got to check these guys out. Oh, did I delete it? I wouldn't have deleted it.
I hate when I do that. Hey, look, there's Michelle. Hi, Michelle.
Michelle
Good to
Morgan.
see you. Yeah.
Hi, Michelle.
She's local, so I gotta schedule a visit to go do a tour of her shrimp room. I've seen some pictures on Facebook of her setup, and she's got she's got a cool rack, man. I want to go check it out and get some film on that. Pick her brain a little bit because she does
Yeah,
some really really good breeding.
me and Michelle talked quite a bit at Aquashella. She was the other person that was sticking it out at the shrimp booth.
Yeah, she did a lot of work. Thank you very much for all your help. I wish I
Definitely.
could have done so much more. I didn't realize we'd be so busy at our booth that
That's good though.
I didn't get to do anything except for pee and try to eat. And
Those nachos were pretty good though. Like that was about the only thing they had. Like you could get nachos or a hot dog.
yeah, I had an
I
order
had
of
nachos
nachos the
both
second
days.
day. It was awesome.
I had them both days. I survived on nachos and water, and that was about it the whole time we were there. I did get a chance to go
What a diet, man.
yeah,
Your wife must be proud.
right. Yeah, there was a burger joint down the road from the event center. It was called Rodeo Goat, and it was killer. Had that 2 days. That was good.
Awesome. Awesome. But yeah, I want to get to see hers. And then I was talking to Ruben because he was still on vacation after the shrimp contest. So I took his
Yeah,
shrimp and held them there at the shop. And then he came and picked them up and we were talking for a little bit. And I want to go get, some video of his room too and pick his brain. I mean, I love learning from everybody. There it comes. Let's see.
I'm not sure which one's better. There's two of them.
Let's see. Oops.
Yeah, if you share your screen, you'll probably lose me, but if you show the video, I can describe it afterwards.
Okay, let me see if I can do this right.
Yeah.
I don't know
Ta-da.
how. I've never been really successful at doing this, but I'll give it a shot.
Got this. As long as you don't have any sketchy browsers open.
I don't think I do.
You always got to check.
So how's that working? I can't see chat.
Oh,
I can't
I
see
don't see
anything.
anything. Did you click share screen?
How was that? Could you see it?
No.
Okay. Wait. Wait.
Let's see. Oh, there you go. Okay, yeah.
Woohoo! That's the first time
Yeah.
I've been able to do that ever. Woohoo!
So this is a buried female tangerine tiger, but if you look, she's got red stripes. So instead of the typical tangerine tiger with black stripes, she's got red stripes. And I've got about 3 of these in my tank right now, and she's always buried up, always pumping them out. I don't get a lot of the red from her though, so that's my goal. Is if I can get a couple females and a male and get them into their own tank.
Right.
Yeah, the next video may be a little better. I'm not
Let
sure.
me see.
Oh, other way. With the macro lens, it's hard to get a good shot of it. Oh, it's choppy. But yeah, she's she's gorgeous with those red stripes.
Oh, awesome.
Anyways,
Do you use anything special for your filming, or are you
so
like me and just use your phone?
I just use my phone. So that's actually shot with a macro lens. So I have a little clip-on lens that I clip to the side of my phone. I actually have it right here. I can grab it. If I can get up.
Matt, the look on Jerry's face was like, let me look. I know. Sorry. My glasses
So
are really bad and nasty. I need
we'll
to get
figure it
new
out.
ones, but it doesn't help. Doesn't
I
help at
think
all.
I think Amber got me this for Christmas or my birthday, but it just
Oh,
has
okay. Yeah, I
a
used
little
to have
clip
one
on.
like that. Just a clip on.
You just put it on your phone, and it works pretty good for the most part. But they have to be like the shrimp has to be right on the glass for you to
Yeah.
get.
And that's what I had, the one that had the different little attachments that you screw
Yeah.
on there,
Yep.
for the different focus. And it's like, well, now I got to readjust where I put my camera when I change the lens. And then I finally get it into focus. And then I was like, well, let me try the other lens. And then you got to put your camera in a whole different position.
But it works for those close-ups. Close-ups. I feel like it does better for pictures than it does for videos.
The macro lens.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that because of the way the autofocus is on the cameras, especially trying to do HD and 4K and everything that they do on the phones. I mean, that's something that I learned on StreamYard, was that I do my videos and then I try to play them on StreamYard, and it wouldn't do the 4K or the HD
You have to
because
pay
it's too much.
extra.
I'd have to encode it down to 720. And now I try to watch or play videos, it doesn't work because I think I changed my camera to the 1080p Logitech camera instead of my laptop camera. So now it doesn't want to run any of my videos. So I have to go back to my laptop camera if I want to run video.
Yeah. That's weird.
Yeah. Or share screen just like that. That was kind of cool. That's the first time I've
Yeah,
ever
that's
done
not
that.
bad.
Thank you for teaching me that.
Yeah, I'll get on tangents and I'll be like, oh yeah, I saw this thing, and I'm like, here, wait, let me show you. And I can pull it up. And then being able to like email yourself stuff too helps, because then you can have it. You can just pull it up on your email real quick. That's why I just messaged it to you. I'm like, you should be able to find it from there instead of.
Well, my son asked me the other day, because he's in college now and he's going through all of where they're determining his classes and all that stuff, getting him through the orientation week.
Yeah.
And so he wants to audition for band, and he said, hey Dad, can you send me the video of my last performance? Well, it's like 25 minutes long, 2 videos.
Gotta just upload
So,
it to YouTube and send them the link.
well, that's what I was going to do. So
Yeah.
I go in and I put them together and run them through Premiere and make a video, one video out of it, no editing, just,
Yeah.
put it together. And then, so I go to upload it to YouTube. After about 15 minutes, it changed to 1% uploaded.
Oh my
So I was
gosh.
like, okay, I'm going to encode it down. I went down to HD, tried it again, went down to 720, tried it again. And then I was like, well, screw this. I'm going to upload it to my Google Drive. That'll work. It'll be faster.
No.
4 hours later, I finally uploaded that video. So I was like, I don't know what the hell I'm doing wrong, or I just have really sucky internet.
Jason's ears were burning.
Look, there's Jason. Did someone call my name?
So I don't even want to tell you how fast my stuff uploads.
Oh,
You wouldn't
no.
be happy with me.
Well, I live way out here in the BFE country, so that's probably it. I mean, we don't have like Ethernet. Even if I hook in the Ethernet line, it's still running
Yeah.
off of basically a hotspot modem, basically.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, I think we have like 1,000 gigs upload. Like my 15-minute Aquashella video was done in like 20 minutes. That was pretty quick.
Well, when I lived in town,
Overnight. I used to have to do it overnight.
when I lived in town, my son was a big gamer, so he had to have that, good gigabyte stuff. What's going on, Jason? How you doing?
Oh, that's fine. Apparently, my dog didn't like my door closed. She didn't know what to do. So Amber had to come and open the door. You want to say hi, City?
So,
You want to say hi? You want to sit right there? Yeah.
the
Are you being
technical terms these two
ignored?
are using, spot on. I know, right? Technical terms. Keeping it shrimple, man. You know better, Matt. Come on now. Hey, wait. I
What was our
haven't done
technical
something yet.
term?
I love shrimp. Who else loves shrimp? I love shrimp. Who else loves shrimp?
I had to do it. It's been a while. I haven't done it all stream.
Gigabyte.
Gigabyte. Yeah, that's exactly what I said. Gigabytes.
Gigabyte. Yeah, I think we have fiber optics out here. We live in the middle of nowhere too, but it's a new development, so it's easier to throw those cables in the newer stuff than it is the older stuff.
Yeah, well, I'm hoping to eventually get back in town and be back, where the new age is, not so much Wi-Fi hotspot type
Wanna
modem.
be where the people are.
Fiber optics, what they have, in the big city. Ooh. But yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready to get back in there, and I'm ready to get like I was telling Jason, I did not go into work on Monday. Frank Basanta asked way before we started streaming, but I didn't go to work Monday because of the rivers that were flooded
Oh,
everywhere.
geez.
I mean, it was horrible, and I didn't want to get on the roads, and it didn't stop raining till about 3 in the afternoon. We are officially the wettest August ever on record.
That's how it's been for us here too.
So it was stupid crazy. And now, so I went to work Tuesday, and then I was like telling Jason, I was like, I wish I could be here more. I need to be here more. Well, yes, today I went in again. Have to do some messing around. Aw, had to do some messing around with the shrimp tanks. Worst rainstorm in 1,000 years for DFW. I know, right? I mean, back 1,000 years ago when it was DFW. Or North Texas. But yeah, that was horrible. So I didn't go to work, and I want to go in tomorrow because there's so much stuff I want to do. I want to reset tanks. I want to work on the planet tanks. work on the fish tanks. Do you have any, like now, are all of your tanks shrimp tanks?
I have my 75-gallon Oscar tank, and then I have the 60-gallon community tank, which is it's heavily planted, but like I said, it's a little neglected right now. Like the plants need to be trimmed and need to get rid of some algae in there, but for the most part, it's all shrimp tanks.
Okay, so that's your main little
Yeah.
focus is what's your most favorite project you have going on right now?
Is it bad to say my coal tank?
Really?
Yeah. So my coal tank has some really cool stuff coming out of it, and that's it's where you throw all the randoms, and so you get some of the cool designs in there.
Right.
Besides that, it was my Dragon Bloods and Calcio crossbreeding.
Mm-hmm.
But with the move, that tank got wiped. I had 4 black Calcios left, 1 blue Dragon Blood, and 3 red Calcios. And so they were dropping like flies in the tank they were in. I tried water changes. I tried leaving it alone, and nothing was working. So I ended up just netting them all out and throwing them in the coal tank, and now they're fine. They're doing good. So whatever's going on with that tank, which is this one right here, I've pulled everything out of it. It's got the sponge running just because, and I'm gonna break it down. I've got some Amazonia I'm gonna put in there, so I'm gonna get that cycling. But I decided to pull it, and so that was my favorite for a while. And right now I've got a Pinto project, so I've got black fancy tigers, red galaxy pentos, black galaxy pentos, some regular red pentos in there. So kind of like a crossbreeding pinto tiger tank, and I'm gonna see what happens. There's some cool looking shrimp in there. I'm gonna let them do their thing, and then I'll pick some stunners out of there and start a tank of those.
I got you. I lost quite a few in my transition, and that's why I was kind of glad that I did do an auction and sell off a lot of the shrimp that I had.
That's just so hard for them.
Yeah, and so at least I got some of the shrimp out and into other tanks where they could thrive and continue to live,
Yeah,
because what I had left over and tried to move,
it's just not good.
most not most of them, but I lost quite a few.
Yeah,
Like I lost all my blue dragon bloods. Um,
they
they
just don't do
didn't
well.
like to move.
They don't do well. All my dragon bloods. I've got one buried female left, and she she survived the chaos of the tank. Whatever happened in that tank, I have no idea. Like I put charcoal in there, I cleaned the filter, I did water changes, just everything I did, nothing was helping. So I just ended up taking them out. But she survived that while buried, and then she survived going into the coal tank while buried, and she's still kicking around in there. So we'll see how she does. Like I ended up drip acclimating them to that tank for like 3 hours. Like, okay, like this is
Right.
like good luck after this. Like I'm not gonna do anything with you. I haven't done a water change in that tank since I put them in there. So I'm just
Okay,
like,
what's your favorite substrate?
I like Brightwell, but I feel like it doesn't do well for Taiwan bees. Like my tigers doing great. Like they're fantastic. My crystal reds and crystal blacks doing great. I know they're still a bee shrimp, but they're more hardy than the others. So I feel like maybe Brightwell's a great substrate. Don't get me wrong, but I wonder if the amount of water changes I was doing and that substrate didn't go well together. I was just taxing it so much. Now add on the fact that I didn't have an RO system and I was refilling water from the grocery store RO units. So my TDS was like 20 to 30 before remineralizing. So I was probably just that buffering capacity was being eaten away. So some of my more difficult to keep shrimp just couldn't handle it. So
Well,
that's
I
why.
found that I have the same issues that with Brightwell. I don't have any problems with tigers or
Yep.
crystals. Um, the other shrimps, though, I do better in fluval than I do in
Really
Brightwell.
shot 'em.
Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, and
Good mixture.
a lot of my tanks when I was really checking it, the pH on those with Fluval is running about 5.8 to 6.2.
Nice.
Yeah. So, but maybe that's because also the water at the shop is really soft coming out of the tap or not soft, but it's low TDS. It's only like 120.
Okay. Now, are you guys using tap water?
We use both. I use for my shrimp tanks and my Caradina tanks, I'm using RO water. And lately I've just been putting RO water in everything just because I
It does.
like using RO water.
It definitely, I feel better knowing that the water going in is 0, and then I can add whatever I want to it after that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's kind of like the way I look at it is that's how rain works. Rain isn't mixed in already, with all of what it needs. It just lands into the water and then it slowly water gets to where it needs to be. So rainwater, that same concept.
Right? Like it's 0. Like start with that.
Yeah. That's why I think like when my fish, when I want to get some breeding going and I do water changes for the fish and they do start breeding, I think it just simulates like rainwater.
Exactly.
I
Yeah,
don't know,
it's
but these are all the technical things I've learned in my shrimp keeping and fish keeping, you know, hobby
right.
that
Well,
change water.
in the last 3 months since setting up this rack, thank you. You're welcome. Is like when you're moving shrimp from one tank to another, like don't do a water change on that tank right away. Like I recently moved all my crystals to the 20 gallon and I did a 2 gallon water change, which is 10%. And I was losing 1 to 2 shrimp a day. And I'm like, and I'm sitting there thinking about it. I'm like, it's nothing out of the ordinary. I didn't add anything. I didn't do anything out of the ordinary. I'm like, it's gotta be just a failed molt. Like what happens when you do too big of a water change or a water change too soon. And so I thought about it. I'm like, yeah, I just moved those shrimp into that tank about a week or 2 ago. So maybe, 3-4 weeks, wait it out. And some shrimp you can, like a couple weeks go by, do a water change. But I think because it was new substrate, the pH was a lot lower. So they were getting used to that. And then adding the new water on top of that, I think that's what did it. So that's one of the things I've learned. Thank you. Is like don't do a water change right after you move shrimp. If you're moving shrimp from tank to tank, like let them settle, let them get used to it, and then you can do a water change later.
Yeah, because that's like a double shock. One, it's new water, so that might cause them to molt a little bit or stress out enough to create a molt. And then water change, that's another one that's gonna double stress.
Yeah.
That's the other thing too, is that it always boggles my mind how sometimes you order shrimp and you get a bag of shrimp and they're buried up or they got a bunch of fries that they released or there's a bunch of molts in the bag and then you put them in the tank and a week later it's like, wow, all of my females are buried. I think that's because of the change of the water, all of that. They molt,
Yeah.
and usually they molt good because they survived and got buried. But that's also at the point where they might have problems with their molts. So the point is do you look for specific types of molts to tell you your water's off or not?
I've noticed that if I'm seeing more molts in a tank, like after a water change, and maybe a dead shrimp. So if majority of the shrimp are molting, then maybe I did too large of a water change or the parameters were off. If I see one molt, I'll be like, oh, okay, they were close, they got the new water, and they're like, all right, let's let's get this going. But if you see like quite a few molts and then find a dead shrimp, usually that's a sign that, hey, I fluctuated something too much, because you're stressing them out to the point to where they're like, I'm not feeling good, something's wrong, let's just start over.
And one of the things I look for is if I see the molt is fuzzy and creamy looking, to me, that's an indication that there's something going on that's not right, that he had a little bit of trouble molting, because I love to see the perfect molt that is like almost clear and it just looks like the shrimp popped out of it and left the molt sitting there.
Yeah.
And when I see those molts, I'm like, I'm good. Shrimp are happy. I don't have to do nothing. But when I see the fuzzy ones that look a little torn and broken, those kind of make me go, okay, they're struggling a little bit.
I think they look meaty. Like a good term is like it's almost like they left some skin behind.
Yeah, exactly.
Like it wasn't quite ready.
The extreme version of that is the ring. You know, when they get the ring, because they just can't pop out of that.
Yeah. I had a few shrimp back in the day get that, but not. I noticed it more in my Neos than I do the Caridina.
Yes, very true, very true.
I think that's like I'm all for drip acclimating. I'll set something up to drip and come back and have water on the floor. Like I don't care. Like if it takes a few hours, that's fine. Or I'll come and dump the container out multiple times. And
well, especially with the Caridinas, you're spending a little bit more per shrimp than you are for a Neo at, $4 or $5 a pop. For your Caridinas, you're 10, 20, 40, 50, 100, $200 a pop,
Neos I would plop and drop from tank to tank. I didn't care.
Right.
They usually did fine though. Like if I knew it was going to hurt them, I wouldn't do that. But once I found out they were tough enough to survive it, like an adult buried Neo, no, I'm going to drip it. But like you got a juvenile that's this big, like, okay, you can go into a tank from another tank. Like your water parameters are going to be so close that you don't care.
See, here's a good point. The new one she just got left mostly white versus clear. Okay. And I think that's a good indication of that is more of a forced molt due to the stress, the change, the shipping, and the new water, versus one that's been in your tank and molts a month later. It'll probably be one of those crystal clear type molts that only looks fuzzy because the other shrimp are eating it up.
Yeah, if you have to get in there with your forceps and check to make sure it's not a dead shrimp, usually that's a sign that something didn't go right. If it looks like a clear molt, then like you're saying, then it's good to go.
Yeah, it's just for me. I use all kinds of little indicators like that visually to help me. I don't know, stay in tune with my aquariums and my shrimps. It's just kind of something. It's my, test strip is what I see.
Yeah.
And from keeping shrimp and sitting there for hours and hours and hours, and I'll admit it, yes, hours and hours and hours of just staring at my shrimp and learning. You learn, and then filming. Oh my goodness, I have so much more film that I've ever taken than what I've posted to YouTube ever. I mean, I probably have hours and hours of unused footage that when you start looking through the camera and seeing stuff up close, you learn so much about your shrimp and kind of tell when they're happy and when they're not happy.
Exactly. I know with this new shrimp room and having the die-offs, I've learned that keeping less stuff in the tanks. So if a couple almond leaves, a ball of moss, stuff that you can move around real easy. I like these floating filters that stick to the wall better because I could see the substrate. I can see every nook and cranny versus the other ones that sit on the ground where things could get behind and you could have a dead shrimp back there and you can't tell. Because every morning I come in here with my forceps and, I pick the leaves up, I pick the moss up and just look to see if there's any dead ones, if there's anything in there. And then that way I can have an idea of what's going on with the tanks. And it makes me feel better knowing that I've looked in each tank and I've checked to see and make sure that nothing's gone wrong. Because with shrimp, within an hour they'll eat it. It's they're
Right.
not, if you have a large colony, like you're gonna lose shrimp and never know. Like my aura tank, my tangerine aura crosses, I could lose a shrimp in there. I would never find it. It would never happen. I watched the shrimp struggle because I was cleaning the tank and I had taken the moss out and it got stuck in the bowl of moss with water in it. So I picked it up and netted it. But that transition period, I don't know if it wasn't doing well to begin with. It didn't make it. So it just floated down to the bottom and was kind of twitching a little bit. Before it was even done twitching, like they were on it, tearing it apart. And so those tigers are ruthless. Tigers are brutal. They'll I've even heard stories like if you talk to Shelly Speed at Lucky Aquatics, she'll tell me that if you have a heavy male populated tiger tank, they'll eat the females once they molt. They just go to town. It's terrible. So
I'm just trying to show here. These are the two little JBJ tanks. Now I go crazy when I have my shrimp tanks that are my personal ones.
Yeah.
So, I go full scape on mine that are.
Is that Cerio? Cerio? How do you say it? What kind of stone is that?
It's a marble slate.
Okay.
Or a marble quartz. pH neutral. And then the other one. And that one's Bulbidus, and again, some more of the slate.
Your moss is a little sad. Were you treating with peroxide?
This moss right here?
Yeah, or does it just look gray on camera?
I think it looks gray on camera.
Okay. So that color there, I noticed that if I'm treating a tank with peroxide, some of my moss will start to turn that color. Like it'll come back, but it doesn't do well with the peroxide treatments.
But yeah, that's one of the things that I've made videos on it about how, like my shrimp tanks that I use for quote unquote or for work, those tanks, I keep them clean. I keep them simple. I think I put my finger on the lens or something because it's blurry.
Does it need to focus?
I don't know. It looks blurry for some reason.
I think it's the focus. Get close and then back up. See if that does anything. Because it focused on your shrimp tank.
Is that what it was? It tried to focus on my shrimp tank. So
autofocus, yeah. Can you stop the camera and then start it up again? Maybe that'll do it.
You can see my hands real good. Look, you can get my fingerprints. Oh, but but anyways, like all my tanks, like the tanks at work, they're simple substrate and maybe a ball of Sawasser Tang or a Sawasser Tang tree, one piece of spider wood holding a moss ball in place, very simple. That way I can get in and out of them, no problems. And then on the stuff, the white stuff on wood is not bad for shrimp. It's just biofilm.
That's good for shrimp. They love it.
So when I'm doing I have to keep a tank that I can play with and put plants in there and mosses and, little caves and stuff. So that's what I do here at home. And for me right now, I have those 2 tanks. I took advantage of having them, and I filled them up with stuff. And on the first tank, the giant willow moss that I got from bipetshrimp.com at the show, it's got so much new growth coming out of it. That's so pretty.
That's awesome.
I love giant willow moss.
Some of those scapes look really good. Now let's see if I can do this here.
Keep it shrimple, Dee Dee. You misspelled it.
Keep it simple.
You can't spell shrimple without shrimp.
Right. I'm gonna see if I can show you my coal tank because I got some cool moss ledges and stuff in there.
I got the moss sampler pack from Lucky Aquatics. Every moss is doing great, even hooker, which I heard is tricky, except your Sawasser tank. Your Sawasser tank's not doing good, and your hooker moss is.
I've got so much Sawasser tank.
Yeah, me too. Wow. That's weird because how is it growing? That's a good question because I've seen it grow so many different ways, and when it's struggling, it's kind of thin and stringy on the fingers, and they're not so rounded. When it's doing well, the fingers are shorter, stubbier, and fatter, if that makes any sense. Is that kind of what you see, Kyle? Oh, you're muted. Whee! It's just melting. The water's probably too hard. That's the only thing I could think. Or it wasn't crispy enough when you got it. You know, so wash your tanks when it's really healthy, it's kind of crispy. As thin as it is, you'd be surprised how crispy it can be. When it's struggling, it's more wilted and slimy, if that helps at all.
Sorry, my mic was muted.
Oh, that's so pretty, man.
There you go. So that's my coal tank, and it's not like super scaped or anything, but I ended up taking here. If you want to zoom in, I ended up taking they're needlepoint mats. So it's just like the needlepoint ledges, and I bent them into U's to make these like bridges, which it turned out pretty good. I don't know if you could hear me while I'm.
Yeah, I can hear you great.
Yeah.
No, I love it. That's dude, that's like right up my alley. I love stuff like that.
Well, I made a bunch of flats for the rest of my tanks, and it's just the simple cross stitch plastic grids.
Right.
I bought like a 20 pack for $10, and they're like a foot by foot square, and I ended up cutting them into pieces and attaching moss to them. And I realized how flimsy they were. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to bend these into like a bridge. And so like the hook and moss isn't really spreading across it like the other stuff is. But I want to say it's pointed spear. The pointed spear is growing great. That's that one on the left. That's just really, really taken over.
That looks good. And what's the one on the right again?
Which, the bridge or the far right?
The far right, up on the ledge.
Up on the ledge, it is a Taxiphyllum SP. That may be the pointed spear. I get them mixed up. There's pointed spear, and then there's another type. I got them from Shelly at Lucky Aquatics, but they have a 3D printer. So those moss ledges are actually 3D printed.
Right.
And you can buy the ledges just from them themselves, or you can buy the moss with it. So like the ones that are like floating in the back, those all came from her. So it's pretty cool. I really like that plant on the right, the one that's like flowing everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, here I'll get a close up of it. But it's losing my cord. There's 2 ledges right there, and they're just branching out like crazy. But if you
that
look
looks like the stuff that I use on my moss trees that I don't know what it is.
I love this stuff too. How it just like bushes. It looks like little mini bushes.
Yeah. And that's hooker moss right there?
Yeah, the Hookerichia. Which it grows really cool. I like how it grows straight up. Well, since I got the camera, I'm gonna lose my laptop though. Here we go.
Don't lose your laptop.
Here, I got an idea.
Time for our coffee cup sponsor. Oh, that's the morning show. Sorry.
All right, how's that? Oh, God. No. Ah.
I know I'm keeping you later than an hour, but this is fun. Can't help but nerding out over shrimp.
Okay, sorry. Can you hear me?
Yep.
We'll give a quick tour of the shrimp rack.
Awesome.
As long as you don't mind. So these
No,
are
I don't mind at all.
Tang ties.
Beautiful.
And one of my newest tanks. So I moved all the black King Kongs here, but most of the black King Kongs are looking like lower grades. So I'm wondering if they're actually like crosses with the orange eye blue tiger. So I'm curious to see what these come out of it. And then that pinto tank. So these shrimp in here, these are from Shelly at Lucky Aquatics, as well as Po Nguyen at NG Shrimp, and then Mike Coleman. So I've kind of got a combination of stuff in here. Of course, regular blue bolts, awesome. Which I just hard cold these the other day. So yesterday I spent a good hour in here, and I got most of them that have the white on them. I moved that to my cold tank. So most of these are more of that darker blue. So as time goes on, I'll be able to cold that out even more. And I feel like all my shrimp are hiding right now. So this is the Aura Blue Tang ties.
Beautiful.
So I don't know if you could see them back there.
Yeah,
but
I saw one. A couple
they're
of
just,
them.
They're like a boring gray color. And they're just F1s, so who knows what'll happen over time. But right. That's why I wanted to mix them with the Aura Blues to see how they do. And this is the tank that I took all the orange eyes out of. You can see one orange eye in the back there, and they're super dark. So surprisingly enough, I sent my coals in to the contest and got 3rd place. So if I had sent some of my Royal Tigers in, who knows what would have happened.
All right.
But those red, what was it? Orange eye red tigers. Those were beautiful. I don't think I could have beat those. So these are actually from the contest. I've got about 7 crystals in here, and some of them are already buried up, as well as these guys. These are just golden bees.
Pretty.
I got more Calcios from the contest. I have 4 left, if that. And just like my tank, these guys didn't do well in the move. Bunch of baby crystals because I didn't want to transition them to the new tank until I knew they were good. And then
do you separate your reds and blacks, or do you keep them together?
No, I keep them together. And I put all the orange eye blue tigers into one tank. So now I've just got it strictly a orange eye tank. And then coal tank, all kinds of stuff. Got some shadow pandas that I culled out of the blue bolts. That's what I was saying. I really like this tank because there's just all kinds of stuff.
That's the one really, really, really cool thing about the coal tanks with the Caradinos is that you get some really cool stuff.
Yeah, it was a
Maybe hard to
black,
duplicate,
right?
but you get some cool stuff.
And then the moss collection. This is the crystal tank that had a bunch of those deaths in.
Here's one that's becoming quickly a victim of. Hey, that's my face, right? I'm still blurry. Dee Dee, so many pretty shrimps. Why am I so blurry?
All right, that was my ADD. I sat still for an hour and then I couldn't help it. Oh, am I still muted? No, I'm good.
No, there you are.
Okay. Yeah, I did good though. I sat still for an hour and 20 minutes before I started walking around the shrimp room.
Hey man, that's good. That I like that though, man. It's cool because you're proud of what you got, and that's
Yeah.
ain't nothing wrong with that, man. You should be. I like what I see. I'm
Yeah, I
glad you
should have.
came up here with us tonight and had some shrimp talk with us and let us pick your brain. And Nano Aquarium guy, you're late, but you can catch us on the replay because I know that Kyle's got to go. He's got things to do. I'm taking away from his quality time with his wife Amber. So, and do me a favor, how do you pronounce your last name?
Uziak.
Uziak. See, it's as simple as it
Uziak.
seems, people. At the
Yeah.
beginning, I was all worried. Oh no, I don't know how to pronounce his name, but see, Uziak.
I've heard it all. Usiak, Uziak, Usick. So it wouldn't have been the first time.
Later, shrimp fan. Anyways, thanks for hanging out with us, Kyle. I really do appreciate it, man. I'd love to get you back anytime you want to come up, and talk some shrimps on a Wednesday night, or when you get back into streaming, give me a shout out. I'd love to join you.
Yeah, absolutely. I had fun. I enjoy the streaming, and I can ramble on. So
yeah, me too. Once I get going talking about shrimps, I'll keep on talking about shrimps and talking about shrimps, more shrimps, and why do we do this, Kyle?
I love shrimp. Who else loves shrimp? I love shrimp. Who else loves shrimp?
exactly.
That's why.
Exactly.
But anyways, thanks for hanging out. We'll see you again next time. Peace out, everybody. Thank you, my mods, my watchers,
Don't forget to
replay
subscribe.
crew. Yeah. Well, he said.
Hit the like, hit the subscribe, all that good stuff.
Thanks, everybody. You have a good one. We'll see you again. Later.
Bye, guys. Enjoy the rest of your day.
And